Hi, welcome back, or welcome for the first time to The Throttle Cable. It's my channel about owning and running a Porsche 996. So what's the job today? Well, I've got my hands on some H&R lowering springs that are going to drop the ride height of the car by approximately 30 mil all around the car. That'll get it down to the ride height of a 996 GT3, there or thereabouts. What am I expecting? I'm expecting to reduce body roll, lower the centre of gravity and have a bit more firmer but still compliant ride in the car. I've got some experience of H&R springs because the 997 GT3 comes with them as standard, and yeah, they're great. So I'm hoping these are going to be just as good. I'm going to be dropping the car off in the springs to 9X, which is a independent Porsche motorsport shop in Maidenhead. They've quoted 2.5 hours to fit the springs because, well, my car's really clean underneath and nothing is seized or anything nasty like that. But I've heard some horror stories of people saying 6 hours plus to get these things done. But these guys know exactly what they're doing, and this they could probably do with their eyes shut. So yeah, whilst it's in there, it's having a minor service as well, having the poly belt changed, so everything should be tip top when she comes out. So the next shot you'll see should hopefully be me picking this up. 9X. Collecting the car, and yes, it looks very, very nice. Going to take it for a drive and see how it feels with the new springs. Okay, in the car, going to fire up and take it for its first little spin. I don't know how hard this is going to ride compared to how it was, or how much lower it's going to settle once it's been driven a bit, but let's go see. Now, it's meant to have lowered the car about 30 mil all round, so as the pack says from H&R, I expect it's probably slightly less than 30. The reason being because the old shocks had done, or the old springs I should say, have done 67,000 miles on here, so there was probably a bit of sag on them anyway, and that would have accounted for maybe a little bit of drop from the outset. So looking at it from the outside, yeah, I'm guessing it's probably more like a 20 mil drop all round. That's my guess anyway. And gonna see, I'll take it for a spin, a couple of different roads, get up to speed and see how it drives. Obviously my comparison will be 997 GT3. That's running on its standard PSM coilovers. So far, I mean, this is a bumpy road I'm going down, and it's definitely firmer, but it's not jarring, for example. It still feels pretty compliant and nice. Welcome. I'm going to go head towards a higher speed road now as well. A couple of roundabouts, see how it feels in terms of pitch and roll. Feels really nice. It's definitely made quite the difference to the car, that. I mean, straight away you can really feel, just it feels more planted, a bit more firm. Right, we're a few miles in now to my little drive out to see what these springs are like, and so far all positive. I was a little concerned that they could get quite bouncy because they're running on the standard dampers at the moment. I wanted to see, because they looked in really condition, these dampers, I wanted to see how they held up with the slightly stiffer springs, and the concern was if they were a little bit shot, they could become a bit bouncy, boingy, whatever you want to call it, at speed and on the wrong kind of bumps. And I'm just on a section of motorway at the moment, and at speed, you know, the car feels really nice and planted. It genuinely feels lower, which is a strange thing to say, and I don't know how else to describe that, but you get the sense you're hunkered down a bit more in the car. The stiffness of the spring, if I had to put it in percentages, it feels about 20% stiffer than it did before, and that's just fine by me. That's exactly what I wanted. Cruising at speed now,
It's not jarring, it's not too hard, it just feels right. I think H&R have done a really good job with this spring. Like when I read online, the Ibac springs are apparently a little bit softer, and the H&Rs are deemed to be at the stiffer end of the scale. Now, this doesn't ride as firmly as my GT3, it doesn't ride as firmly as my Megane 2655 Cup either. It's just a little bit dialed back from that. I don't feel like it's compromised the comfort of the car at all. Yes, it is slightly stiffer, but nothing that is giving any undue kind of deflection into the cabin of hitting bumps or whatever. So right, that was a motorway section. I'm now about to go and rejoin some country road. Once I've gone around a nice little roundabout, I'm quite interested to see traffic, how much the body rolls now compared to before. Wow, it's okay. I'm going to go around the roundabout once just because I want to see what it's like. Yeah, it's bloody hell. Sorry, pardon my French. That's a lot better. I mean, I'm cornering at speed, and that is good. That is really good. Okay, right, country road, here we come. Let's see how we get around here. Now I drive this route to work every day in my 265 Cup, and that is a good benchmark of how well a road car that can track deals with this kind of stretch of road. And yeah, this is riding just as well. I don't need new dampers, yay! Yay! What I was going to look at was Bilstein B8s. I don't want coilovers on this car because one, adjustable coilovers. I am not going to be adjusting those coilovers if I ever got them. I'm not the kind of person that goes out on a Sunday and goes, do you know what? I want to raise the suspension today or lower the suspension today. I want it set in one fixed position and it to work. It's always going to be a compromise between what driving you want to do, but I want it to work in all the situations that I need it to work. And yeah, this is already seeming very good. I'm going to go a little bit further, and the next stretch of road we'll pick back up on is super duper bumpy, and that will really test this a bit more. You rejoin me. We're just about to turn onto the next piece of road, which is completely different to anything I've driven so far with these springs on. This is a particularly, let's call it, unpleasant stretch of road, which you'll know if a car isn't riding right down here, and it's about to get bad just about now. So if I bounce around a bit, I apologise, but this is purely in relation to testing. Yeah. Okay, well, let's dealt with that very well. All right, over the crest. Yeah, this Windsor Maynard Council. This is the road that you need to be resurfacing. But equally, it's quite nice to see how a car can handle it. Well, there you go. I mean, that's pretty darn good. I thought it was going to be a bit more jarring, actually. But no, nicely controlled. The dampers just seem matched to the spring. I wasn't expecting it to be that good. I guess, yeah, as 996s go, these dampers haven't done that much mileage as 996s go. If you've got slightly older dampers, you might get a different experience, but maybe you can tell by the footage here or my voice pitchy that this is quite bumpy, but it's really good. Oh, I love this car. It's for the money. Where else can you get a car? Oh, water. Where else can you get a car that does this? It's brilliant. Right, again, we're about to go down another nasty bit of road. Right, off we go. This bit, it's always covered in a little bit of water, bits of mud, follows a farm track, it's rutted, bumpy. a single section here, and I want to get this car past. I'm pulling off onto another bit of a rough road here. Literally, this road is all over the place. So if it's gonna feel bad, this is exactly when. Brilliant. It's dealing with everything I've thrown at it so far. Right, well, honestly, I don't know, and I haven't driven on any worse roads than what I've just been on. The ride's great. The ride's great. If I'm in my GT3 and it's not on its firmer settings, which really you'd only ever want to use for the smoothest tarmac, it's not as hard as that. This is more compliant than that by a margin. Back on nice smooth tarmac again. Just planted, it's great. Okay, well, if you've got decent dampers on your car, they're not misty and horrible and look like they've seen better days, then yeah, get the H&R springs. They are damn good. I wanted to give a quick mention to where the car's been as well. So 9X, you may or may not be familiar with them, but it's an independent Porsche specialist. They're based in Maidenhead, and they primarily outfit race cars. So they really know their stuff when it comes to fast Porsches, but they also tinker with other cars. There was, for example, a couple of Ginettas in there as well when I went to pick up the car that they are fully prepping for the race season. They've got a number of cars themselves, and they are racers. So Andy and James that run the place are avid racers themselves, and they can talk you through, you know, what it is you want to get out of your car. The purpose of this car is clearly not a race car. For me, this is a fun road car, and you know, they know the direction I want to head with this, and they can advise me, and they seem very honestly advise me what I should and shouldn't be doing. And yeah, I would thoroughly recommend them for any work. So they gave this a minor service, changed the poly belt, and then obviously swapped the springs for me. I'd also asked them to have a once over the car and let me know where else money would be well spent. And the amazing thing they said was, well, nowhere at the moment. It's one of the cleanest cars they've seen in a very, very long time, in a 996. And yeah, it's nothing needs doing. Nice to hear, especially on a 20-year-old car. But that said, there is going to be a couple of tweaks regardless. But yeah, if you're in the area and you want to drop in and say hello to them, I'd advise you do. It's just a small, honest outfit that have a real, genuine passion for Porsche. I'm nearly back, and I think you can tell how happy I am with this change in the car. I'll probably revisit them in about, I don't know, let's call it 1,000 miles time to see if it's changed how they've settled down, how they sit. But for all purposes, it's a very good change. So all that's really left for me to say is thanks for watching. If you're enjoying the content, please subscribe and follow. I've got a few more changes planned, and hopefully we can keep moving everything in the right direction of a good, fast, fun road car. Thanks guys.